Hey guys, so in this video, I want to talk about the cards in some of these Scarlet and Violet sets that have been popping off, but also talk about booster box pricing and when sets come out in the future, what you should be considering and looking at when you want to invest in a booster box. Now, I know there's lots of ways to go about things. I'm sure a lot of you guys just buy a case of every release or multiple cases, and you just do it. You buy all the sets, and that's fine. I mean, long term, you're going to absolutely crush it that way. You're going to kind of have like an ETF of all the products, and you're just going to move up with the market. Some of you guys probably don't have that much money and you want to pick and choose what you put more money into. I'm kind of that way too. I want to be a bit more active. I don't want to always have the worst performing products, and I also want to look at my investments maybe after a year or 18 months, something like that, and see if I need to move out of products and move into better products, because as we know in Pokemon, the best sets always outperform the worst sets, and it's quite obvious, I'd say after a year, 18 months, which ones are going to do the best long term. Team Up, it was obvious. Evolving Skies, obvious. In Scarlet and Violet era, it's obvious that something like Surging Sparks is going to outperform an Obsidian Flames. It's going to outperform probably even a Temporal Forces, but obviously you probably should have some exposure to Temporal Forces. So, after a period of time, I do like looking at all the cards in a set, seeing how they're doing, and really considering what I should do with my booster boxes based on that. But if you do like investing in cards and you're trying to find some deals and what you can do in this market to try and get an edge over some people, I think this is kind of a play you can be making. So I was looking at Temporal Forces, all the sets, Twilight Masquerade, and some of these cards I did expect to pop off that are bigger cards, like the Raging Bolt EX. $110. I made a video talking about this when it was 85, $90 a couple of weeks ago. I knew it was going to move into that $100 price point. Iron Crown, not surprising that this has popped off. I called that as well. Iron Valiant from Paradox Rift. This thing was like $19 when I made a video on it. Just way too undervalued. It's not surprising to me. It's up 57.74% on the month. Insane. Scizor from Obsidian Flames is a $7 card. Now, I made a video, I'm sure a lot of you guys didn't see it because I made it about 6 months ago. Cards under $10. This thing was like $2 or $3 at the time. I said it was undervalued. It's seen 100% growth since then. Same thing with the Shiftry. At release, this was like $2 in Temporal Forces, now up to about $5. I do think this card has a long way to go, or could actually go higher. I thought it was going to be way higher than this at release. I was wrong about that, but it is slowly moving up. People are kind of realizing that this card is, undervalued. And you're going to see that. Like a lot of these cards, they might be not fan favorite, but popular Pokemon, decent artworks, IR cards that the market kind of just deemed undervalued. But you're also going to see another type of category. And when I show you these next few, I just want you to try and consider what they have in common. So the first one's Apom from Paradox Rift. And guys, I'm going to butcher a ton of these names because these are Pokemon I've never heard of before a lot of the times. And that kind of just proves my point, right? So Apom Paradox Rift up 64% on the year, $6.20 there, 19 cents. Swablu, definitely a more popular Pokemon, still up 54.29% on the year. The Mantike or the Mantiki, I'm not actually sure how you say this, up 70% on the year, guys, right there. And then you have the Minun and we'll talk about the Ninetales in a second. The Minun and the Plusle from Paradox Rift, these are kind of, paired Pokemon, I believe, paired artworks. The Plusle is up 178, almost 179% year over year, and the Minun is up over 113%. The Ninetales, again, I put this in my video as well about 6 months ago, and this card was sub $9, I think, and I said it was undervalued at that price point. We've seen over 100% growth, up 142.64% on the year. So what do a lot of these Pokemon have in common, right? When you just look at these cards, what comes to your mind? I'd say a lot of these are very cute looking, and that's kind of the idea I want to get across. A lot of these cards, they might not be fan favorite Pokemon, but they're neat artworks, they're nice cards to look at, and they got cute, smiley Pokemon on a fair amount of them. Obviously, Minun's crying. But it's still cute artwork, right? When you look at it, it's kind of funny and great to look at. So a lot of these are just very cute cards, and they're moving up. 100% gained on a lot of these. The Ninetales is just a beautiful card as well. So cute, beautiful. We're playing semantics at that point, kind of, in some senses. But a lot of these cards that are undervalued that have been moving up, people just like them because they're not always fan favorite, but they're great artworks. People want to look at them. They want to have them in their binder, their collection, their slab PSA 10s or whatever. And to, kind of finish out this video, I do want to look at some potential ones that I think could continue to move up over the next year. And, to bring this back to booster boxes, I do think it's important when you're looking at a set maybe 6 months after release, when card prices are at their lows, consider some of these cards, right? So in Obsidian Flames case, this Ninetales has become, I believe, third or fourth most expensive card in the set. So there will be times where, and even the Plusle, where is it? The Plusle is like top 10 card in Paradox Rift at this point. So a lot of these cards that come out the gate and they might only be a few dollars because the market doesn't really realize how valued they should be. A lot of these cards can affect, top 10 value. They can affect total set value, and those things in general are going to affect booster box pricing long term. It's not going to affect it a ton. Chase card, like top 1 to 3 cards in the set, are obviously going to be the most important thing we should consider. But looking at top 10 value, looking at top 20 and 50 value and total set value does play a role, especially when we want to compare those midterm sets and what we are trying to decide what we should invest in and maybe what we should drop for other sets, right? So it does become important to look at these types of supporting cast cards. Some of these cards I think could start moving potentially in the future. Mesprit from Surging Sparks. Again, this is a sub $7 card, a very cute, beautiful looking card to look at. Same thing with the cast form, the Sunny form from Surging Sparks as well, sub $7. It wouldn't surprise me if this is a $10 to $15 card at some point in the future. The Litten from Temporal Forces, this one has been moving, came out the gate around $3 $4, now up over $10. I think this could go even higher. The Reuniclus, I'm not sure exactly how you say some of these guys. Sitting around $5. This one has been moving up. It was, $2 $3 a couple months after release. Now up to almost $6. That's about 100% gain right there. You have the Cutie Fly from Temporal Forces, up 25%, only a couple bucks, but this card has been slowly moving up, unsurprisingly, as this meta towards cute cards continues. You have the Minccino and the Cinccino from Temporal Forces. Both of these are very cute paired artworks, kind of, and I think that they could both be in that $10 $15 range. The Minccino's only about $4.30 right now. The Cinccino's $8.50-ish. Both of these I still think have room to grow. You have the Ledian from Stellar Crown, currently sitting about $2.80, $2.83, something in that range. Let's look at most recent sales too. Yeah, so most recent sales, if you go look at some of these cards as well, like starting to move up into that $3.50, $4 range on a few of these. Obviously some sales lower than that, but we should keep an eye on some of these and see if the trend moves up in that $4 $5 range. I think this could be a $6 $7 card, something like that. You have the Milcery from Stellar Crown as well. Again, sub $3 card. If you look at most recent sales, kind of all over the place. You have a couple sub $2. You have one almost $5. Keep an eye on some of these, see if they move into that $3 $4 $5 range. And then finally, the Metatite from Stellar Crown as well. Sub $3, sitting around $2.30. But as you can see from our release, it was sub $2 at one point. Now we're already in that $2.30 range. And most recent sales, you do have some lower ones, but some up to almost $4. So a lot of these cards, obviously these are sets that haven't been out as long. They come from Stellar Crown, Temporal Forces. A lot of these were released. Surging Sparks as well just came out. A lot of these cards did release this year, right? So it's not surprising that over the first 3 to 5 months, a lot of them might lose value. But they are cards we should consider when we're looking at that mid-tier value. And this becomes important when we consider sets to relate it to maybe Sword and Shield era. Considering sets like Brilliant Stars, like Astral Radiance, like Silver Tempest. Obviously, you have your top hitters like your Evolving Skies, your Fusion Strike, Lost Origin, Chilling Reign. And I guess even for Chilling Reign, right? Like it becomes relevant because a set like Chilling Reign is a lot deeper than a set like Fusion Strike and even Lost Origin. So when you want to compare those three boxes, maybe you give the top hit to Fusion Strike, Lost Origin, and then Chilean Rain. But consider the other depth to it for what you want to invest in. But in terms of the mid tier stuff, right? Like maybe you want to hold your Brilliant Stars right now. Maybe you want to hold your Astral Radiance. Maybe you even want to hold Silver Tempest, but maybe something like Battle Styles you don't want to have too much of, or you want to move out of that and move into something better, or free up some cash for new Scarlet and Violet sets. It's going to be the same thing with the SV sets. Paldean or Paldea Evolved has a lot of depth, some great cards in there. And when you consider that in comparison to something like Obsidian Flames or potentially even what came after, Twilight Masquerade, I guess you have a top hit, that's fine. But something like Stellar Crown, maybe, long term, you might want to not be in as much Stellar Crown compared to Paldea Evolved. And I know that these are, sets that kind of have a top chase card, they have a few supporting cards below it. But when you consider that mid-tier depth, and I know it's not going to be a great one-to-one comparison with Sword and Shield, but when you guys are ranking all your booster box sets and what you want to be in, again, we want to be top heavy, right? Because those outperform all the other sets normally. And if you want to take the less risky approach and just invest in everything and hold long term, sure, you're going to do well, but for a lot of us, it should be easy to eventually move out of sets that probably aren't going to perform as well or have already done decent things and move into better sets. So considering this sort of thing going into the future is important, at least in my mind. And if you just want to buy PSA 10s of them and sit on them for a year and double your money, that's also a way to go about it, right? Is looking at some of these cards. So that's all I got for you guys today. I know it was a bit of a ramble. But we're in a market where so much stuff has just moved insanely over the past few months, and if you still want to buy, I still think there's potentially some deals to be had and some moves, some plays to be made. But it's really drying up fast. It's really tough to justify a ton of things. So I'm trying my best still to give some of you guys options if you're new and you want to get into some things. But it is what it is right now. It's a very, very overhyped market. People are in it, and we just got to be patient and wait for our time. If you want to do that and get into booster boxes and ETBs, just be patient and wait. But if you want to be more risky, have at her. Anyways, I'm done rambling. I've kept you guys long enough. Thank you so much for watching the video. Stay safe wherever you are in the world, and I'll catch you in the next one.